today we are recapping episode 6, and it was really good.
It was.
It was so good.
Yep.
So we start out with breakfast. Who did they choose to murder? Let's guess. Yep. And Peter set up that trap, and it did not work out well for the traitors.
Oh God.
I know. I am so mad that they chose Bergie. Not they. I should say Dan.
I've seen a couple interviews where he says he did not even hear Parvati say
yes
he was setting up a trap. He was like so in his mind about getting Bergie out. He wasn't even listening. I'm like, oh, Dan. That's
what I heard too. No. How frustrating he must have, like, hearing that back and him hearing it and like just being like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe I could have saved my game.
Yep, exactly.
But he was already under such hot water.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They had so the order people came in. I had Kate, Parvati, and Sheree. Then CT, Dan, and Sandra came in. I thought Dan's acting wasn't. Dan looked awkward coming through the door, don't you think?
Yeah, Dan's getting worse and worse with the acting.
I know. And then Phaedra, and then MJ behind her. So they kind of came in together, but it was like Phaedra, then MJ.
Yeah. They gave him a second to walk in.
And then Kevin, right? Yep. So they were like behind each other. And then it was Trishelle and John, and everyone's like, oh no, Bergie. And Pete was ecstatic.
Oh yeah. Pete's like, if John walks through the door, I know the plan worked. And yep, he did.
Yep. He went straight to Trishelle and said, game on. When she walked through the door.
Yeah. Oh, I had chills because I'm like, oh no.
and him, who did he tell last time? So him, Trishelle, John, his little group, right? John, Kevin. So all of them knew that Bergie was about to walk through. And all the others didn't. I'm like, oh, that must have been such a fun feeling for them.
Yeah.
Like, to be like, we did it. You know?
Yeah, that was definitely a win for them. I mean, you know me, I'm a Dan fan, so I'm not happy, but it is what it was a good win.
He did it to himself. Oh,
he did do it to himself. But anyways, so yeah, the plan worked. Peter announced it to the group. You just said that. Dan and Parvati are very nervous because Peter then tells everyone and explains what the plan was.
Exactly.
And he says he told Dan, Parvati, and CT. So now everyone knows this information.
Sandra was so excited though. She's like, who did you tell?
Yeah. Who did you tell? Who?
They all fessed up. And then Pete, did he say at the table? CT was like, you told me, but I'm not a
jerk. Yeah. They all rose their hands like, oh, you told me.
Parvati's like, I kept it in confidence. And Dan said, you leaked it to me, but I'm not a traitor. Just like CT.
Right.
Unbelievable. Oh.
No.
But I did Peter, down a note that Alan's blue glasses were fire. I loved his blue
glasses. Whole outfit was so cute.
It was. The glasses just tied that whole thing together.
And his little hair that stuck out in the top there with his hat.
Exactly. And then Pete's so smart. I did not know the pilot Pete was this smart. So then he's like, CT's out. CT was like genuinely confused. Like he did not have any kind of reaction. But so now it's down to Dan, right?
Yeah.
It's like
he can tell. He can sense their acting and such. Like Pete's, like you said, very smart. Crazy.
And so didn't we I don't know. We didn't see it in the post-mortem, but Janelle's done some interviews where I guess when Janelle was being booted, she really like laid out all the stuff that Dan does and all.
Yes.
So they did have more.
Yeah.
The suspect Dan than what we're shown.
Yes. Yeah. Janelle said it was like the round table was like 40 minutes. Like just when this is now last episode when it was between Dan and Janelle when they were going back and forth. I guess that was like 40 minutes. So there's so much that they are leaving out for sure.
I know exactly.
TV.
So now after breakfast, Pete goes to Phaedra and MJ, and he's like, "Did anyone leak the info to you?" And Phaedra's like, "Never heard it."
Yes. Did you catch him saying, "I'm dressed in all black because we're getting a traitor today"?
Yes, that was.
Did he do that on purpose? Was that an ode to Dan?
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
I know, exactly.
I was like, oh no, not him using the Dan line against him.
Fan? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't think so. When Dan mentioned the people that knew of him, he said it was Janelle, Peppermint, and one other person, but it wasn't him. So I don't think Peter knew.
Oh, Sandra knew. Sandra,
that's what it was. Sandra.
Yeah. Which
so
is
that was fun.
He was just keeping him around. I'm like, he's a traitor, and you're like,
yes,
so funny.
So then they get to the talks. Parvati gets Peter in a room, and okay, so she's trying to plead her case, and she's like, well, I think you're playing a little hard, Peter. So she's trying to like backfire it on him, like, I think you're a traitor. And he's not falling for it. He knows the trap worked. CT's not the one, and so Parvati and Dan. But what I thought was so funny, Janine, was Dan pacing the hallway when they were talking, pacing the hallway back and forth. He was like listening in to Peter and Parvati.
I know.
I'm like, Dan, what are you doing?
Oh my God, so bad. And so Pete asks her to give him info. So he thinks she's not, and she's like, no, because if everyone will say that about themselves, they're not a traitor. So me giving you info isn't anything like a Parvati. So silly.
I know, they're both bad.
And then we have our Dan and Pete talk.
Which went nowhere.
Dan starts off with, what went wrong between us?
Dan, you're not breaking up.
Exactly. You're just such good friends. And now
oh my gosh. Yeah, Peter's not falling for any of it.
Exactly. Dan, I loved when Dan's like, okay, promise me you won't feel bad when it's revealed that I'm not a traitor.
Yeah. He was pulling all the stops. I'm like,
he was trying hard.
Yeah, he was.
And that's all we had before Cannonball Run.
Right? Oh, yes. That was fun.
That was fun. The river was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The screaming. And then Phaedra holding on to our CT. I'm scared.
They're such an item.
I know. So
I don't care.
Trishelle fighting Kevin. He's totally helping her. And she's like, I see a shield box. He's like, are you kidding me? She's dragging, they're pushing. I'm like,
they were fighting. I'm like, oh my God. Let it be another Janelle and Ike and Sue moment.
Exactly. Oh my God, that was funny.
And then Kate saying, remember last season, this was the one that Kate played where she was grabbing the money and throwing them, the barrels of money. Yes. So she goes, I think Alan's making me redo this one.
That was good. And they do all those things, and like people are grabbing shields, and then Kate grabs Pete's shield box.
Yeah.
And like almost put it on the wall, but then she double thought, and that made Pete leave the wagon. And he was a big help on the wagon, just so he could. But she wasn't going. She put it down on the ground. She was like, "No, I'm not going to."
Yeah, but she put it down, and he probably thought, "Oh, someone else is going to grab that." So
true. Yeah.
But she didn't want it. She's like, it's putting a target on me. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was so funny. So they finally get the catapult up and assembled, and they pick John. I'm like, they picked John to launch it. So they had to launch it, and that ended the time.
Exactly. That was super sweet. He was so happy.
He was so happy. Little John. Well, he's got to be relevant somehow. Oh, actually, he had a good time at the a good moment in the round table, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
John.
And then we had the people who were doing the catapult for the shield.
Yeah, the shields, because there was only one of them going to win the shield.
So the order was Sandra, Parvati, Trishelle, Sheree, who at this point is the closest. Before that, it was Sandra. Parv and Trishelle were awful. And then and Pete's got to beat Sheree to get the shield. And his was the worst.
I know. I'm like, Pete, you're what?
Oh, it was so bad. So Sheree gets the shield.
Yes. Oh, and then the car talks. The car talks I thought were funny because they're all like, oh, so who do you think? And they're like, one car was like, oh yeah, Parvati. But the car that I'm thinking of was, it was actually Dan, Parvati, Peter, and Who else? Correct me. Someone else was in that car.
Wait.
Maybe it was Sandra. Excuse me.
Trishelle asked how
yes,
was about
Trishelle.
Tonight. Trishelle asked how
yes.
about
So they're like, so they go. So Dan, who do you think's gonna be banished tonight?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm under fire, and well, I don't know, giving nothing.
So
poor
bad.
Dan. But yeah.
What a car, huh?
What a car!
And
then Parvati was kind of like, Peter said, if I'm murdered, what'd he say? Oh my gosh, he was like, take it easy on me tonight, guys. If you murder me.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean? It was Peter versus Parvati for a little while.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, so then we get to the house, and Pete's little group goes and shuts the door. And Parvati goes to walk in there, and she's like, "Can I come in?" He's like, "Not yet."
Yeah. Shuts the door.
I was like, "Holy crap! Way to be obvious."
Yeah, that was a Big Brother. That was a little Big Brother move there, shutting the door on.
I had Nicole A flashback.
Yes.
Right.
21. Yes.
That was what I thought of. That was Nicole A's was worse. Way worse.
1,000 times.
This was This was
bad. It did. It was a little traumatizing for us BB watchers.
It was. Yeah, I did.
We're like, what the heck is happening?
And then they all decide on Parvati, and then Pete goes to let her back in. Oh, you can come in now.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh Lordy, are we high and mighty? Come on.
Yeah, he thinks he's running the show for the faithful there.
Dan tells Pete. Oh, okay. So Parvati says, she brings up the fact that they're this big group, which means one of you could be a traitor, and they're saving this group, and you don't even know, and blah, and all that stuff. And you're like, yeah, okay, right.
Yeah. And then after that, I think Dan went to just about everyone. Yeah. And he's basically telling them there is one person that I've been looking at, and I'll explain it at the round table. And everybody had like the same reaction, like, so you're not gonna say anything now?
Yeah, just say it.
Dan,
so bad.
He's theatrical, but it's not Big Brother.
Right. He doesn't. Yeah, this is not the game. It's not the game for him. Unless, it could have been, but he just played it too much like Big Brother.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And he knows that. He has a whole list of things he did wrong. At least he can own to it.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So we get to the round table.
A round table. The best round table yet. But the worst as well.
Exactly. So Dan does his, I've been watching one person. Let's play a game. Which he did with Big Brother, right?
Classic.
But just going through, even that it didn't make sense to me. Like he was saying, did not make sense. And then he saves Parv and Sandra Parv and
Phaedra.
Hello, I need more coffee.
There's too many people. Nice duckies.
He saves them for last. I'm like, oh, Dan, that's bad. Before we even see the end, my thought was, everyone knows you're a traitor. Yeah. If he goes out, it's revealed he's a traitor. So now he's putting those two. He's like trying to give them someone that would be a traitor to show how good of a player he is.
Yeah.
Means you've just thrown Parvati and Phaedra under the bus. Like, people are going to now suspect Phaedra's a traitor because that's who he was trying to get out.
Yeah.
That's bad. I was like, at least do it. I don't know.
I know. A lot of people are upset with the way he did it.
Yeah. At least do Parvati, because she's the other one that everyone was saying, So it's like, you didn't reveal Phaedra. It's like, oh, that was harsh.
His reasoning for not picking Parvati is because he was really close with her. He keeps saying like a Memphis and like a Danielle. And also, if he were to put suspicion on Parvati and it was already there, she's gone, he's next, is what he said.
True. Very true. Yeah.
And she was his number one. So I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time,
still.
But so after his little, basically trying to narrow it down to who you know, this one person that he's thinking of could be, he
Right.
says finally it's Phaedra. And Phaedra's face, she was like I can't even do it. I can't even do it. She was pissed.
She was
not happy.
Yeah, that was her. So I've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. I started.
Have you?
Only on season 3. I have a serious problem. I can't stop watching it. It's
oh my god. I'm like, only season 3. That's a lot.
I'm on season 3. Yeah, I started.
Oh my gosh.
But Phaedra and Sheree, to me, are so much different than they are on Sheree, especially. Sheree is so much different on Real Housewives than she is here. Phaedra's a little closer. And again, I'm only in the early seasons. So they could have changed a little along the way. But I was like, that's Sheree. Like, she's she seems so quiet on Traitors. Wow. Do you think she seems quiet or no?
That's what I was thinking on the Traitors. She's very quiet. I'm like, she's a housewife. She's like, I mean, we're barely seeing.
Not quiet. She's
maybe they're just not showing a lot of her on the show because we're not seeing like a good Sheree edit.
No, not at all. I was like,
or she is just being quiet. Maybe she's doing it on purpose.
Fashion, like she's into fashion, and she's always saying how fashionable she is. And I'm like, I don't remember any of her outfits. Like,
we know Rachel's. Remember Rachel's outfits last season?
Yes.
Talk about fashion.
I'm only in the early season, so Real Housewives fans, let me know if I'm wrong. If their personalities become a little more mellow, who knows? But
I gotta get into those shows.
It's really
yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh, there's so many shows I need to catch up with. But Phaedra, I love what she said to Dan was, he says Dan says that Phaedra is being extra with all her voting reactions.
Yes.
That was one of the reasonings, which is so ridiculous, Dan.
Yes.
Yeah, like her comforting Larsa when Marcus left. That was suspicious. And then saying, not my burgalicious. And then Kate chimes in. Kate's like, not my burgalicious was problematic for you?
Exactly.
And Phaedra's like,
what everyone's thinking at home.
Yeah. She's like, Phaedra goes, I'm doing too much because you're doing too little. I thought that was so good.
Yeah. And then the only thing is, she didn't explain Ekin Sue's vote. She's like, everyone knows. It's because she changed her story.
Yeah. That didn't help Phaedra either, but I don't know. She wasn't expecting that one.
So then Pete brings up, I don't think it's CT. I think it's either Parv or Dan.
Yeah.
And then Parvati starts to bring up the clique. And if you're not in Pete's group, you're going to get murdered or banished. And she starts saying why she trusted Dan, and Pete interrupts. He's like, she's trying to separate herself. He's like, can I finish?
Yeah, it was Dan versus Peter versus Parvati for a little bit.
And then she went on to say, I just trusted the wrong person. And Pete's like, don't believe her. She's just trying to distance herself from Dan.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Yep.
And then what happens after that? The voting, right?
Yes.
Any other talks?
I don't think so. I don't have any other talks.
No, it was just the big Dan and Phaedra thing.
Yeah, big four. Pete, Dan, Marvin, Phaedra. And then, so our voting started with Phaedra. She voted for Dan. Sandra voted for Dan. And then Dan comes up. He votes for Phaedra. Oh, no.
Can I say something about Phaedra's vote real quick? Did you see my post on TikTok? And it was on the post-mortem thing that she broke her chalk writing his name down. And she's so funny because she's always doing little pictures, and she wrote Dan like
big. And you could see the 2 pieces of chalk on each side.
Could you?
Yes.
Notice. She was mad. But anyways, continue.
I'd be mad if I were her.
Yeah.
Oh actually, Pete went third. He voted for Parvati went third, and she voted for Pete.
Yes.
And then Dan.
Parvati voted for Dan.
Why am I? Oh yes, I have it wrong. So Pete.
I messed you up. I interrupted you. I'm sorry. It was my fault. Blame me.
Voted for Parvati. Ugh. And then everyone voted for Dan.
Yeah, basically every single person.
Yep.
He's like, I could hear the drawing of the chalk. He's like, I knew.
Only 2 letters for everybody.
And when he finally got into the circle of truth and announced it, he was so good about it, though, the way he left. And so far, everybody's been good leaving. Nobody's been like sour. So
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Even Janelle.
I know.
Exactly. And everyone cheers. That was funny.
Yeah, everybody was very happy. Finally, they got a traitor. Yay!
Exactly. And then Phaedra with her hand, bye.
Yeah. Oh, she calls him Dirty Dan too. I'm like, no.
I know, exactly.
She in real life is really upset. So
she is, I know.
Yes. A lot of people can't handle, like, if you're not used to playing a reality competition game, it's, I'm sure, so psychological. Like, people really take that to heart. But like people like Dan, he's like, I'm gonna go home. It's like work for him. You know what I mean?
And it's a game of, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Trying to win. So
I can't.
What?
I can't. I was gonna say I can't like tell how I would be in that situation.
Oh,
so I really can't. I don't want to judge, but at the same time, I feel like you should realize it's a game. It's just a game.
Yeah, and he's trying to save himself.
Yeah.
Exactly. But she's also, I seem like she wants to win. So like,
oh yeah, clearly.
So first time competition series, wanting to win is probably going to upset her when things don't go her way. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So then Pete calls his group in.
The group, I know. They should have a name. They should just be an alliance.
Exactly. And then I love how Sandra's like, should we see what the 5 most faithful of the faithful are doing?
I love it. Yes. Yep. So true.
Oh my God, that was awesome. And everyone
Let's call them that. They should just be the most faithful.
Exactly. And then Parvati then she starts calling them out again. It's weird that they shut the door and all this stuff. And everyone's they're like, we're higher than all of you. It doesn't matter what you think.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. That's all I have before the tower. You have anything else?
No, that was it. The tower. Okay.
The tower. Oh. And then Parvati's like, that was dark.
I know.
What did she say? Phaedra talks about the alliance, like that alliance that needs to be that stuff. Then Alan Knox scares the crap out of them.
I know.
Because they're not expecting anybody.
No, not at all.
That scared the crap out of me. That was pretty good.
Yeah, and I knew right away what it was going to be.
Recruit or murder.
Yeah.
Or the other. And what do you think of their choice?
So yeah, they had to choose between recruiting or murdering. I think recruiting would make more sense. And that's what they chose because I mean that's putting it.
I think was the best choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Exactly. And plus, it's the smartest move.
Yeah, I was thinking if they murder him, then that's kind of really suspicious. No, like after everything that day, So I would that would be a nail in the coffin for Parvati. I feel so. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure Pete's going to take it. Like,
will he accept it?
If he does it, did Alan say? Alan says he stays in the game if he doesn't, right? Even if he doesn't get murdered. He doesn't have to leave. I think he will.
Yeah, because I think his reasoning
is going to get murdered next if he doesn't.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Because I think he even said it. If I don't accept this, I could be murdered next.
Exactly.
So it is Oh man, but what do you think about? So they did this last season where they recruited.
Yes.
Do you think that it's fair to recruit?
I didn't. But this season, Janelle kept saying, I think there's 4.
Yeah.
Probably because of last season.
Right.
Where there was 3 and then there was 4. So maybe he'll be a little smarter this season and know that someone could be recruited.
I don't know. I get them doing it because they did it before. But it's like to me, if I'm on the faithful side and we just got out a traitor, we just did it.
Oh yeah.
And then come to find out another one was recruited.
Exactly.
Well, what the heck? Like now
I think I remember last year Alan told them that the traitors may have recruited somebody. Nobody was murdered and they offered a chance to recruit, but the person could reject it. And that's when the I forgot his name. I meant to look it up. The traitor who wasn't Cody or Sari, the other traitor, he like stands up. He thinks he has this grand plan. He's like, they tried to recruit me, and I said no.
Christian,
yes. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, he was a hot mess. Christian's probably the reason that no regular people are on it again. Like, he was using too much.
Thought he was as smart as Pilot Pete actually is.
Oh yeah. He was. Oh gosh. Do you know they're actually? Sorry. Do you know they're actually filming the reunion right now today?
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
I know. I'm like, Dan is in New York. I can drive there.
Oh, awesome.
I'm not, but I would. I would if I could, but I'm.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's cool.
Love you, Dan. I have no gas money, but I love you. Yeah. So next episode should be really good with
I know. We find out if Pete accepts.
Yes. Do we think Alan's going to tell them again, or we think it's just going to be hush hush?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I should tell them just so they know.
Yeah, I would.
That there could be. Yeah, I hope he tells them.
Yeah, I do too.
And then, oh gosh, so funny. I want him to accept just to see how he tries to spin this.
I know, because he's been doing so well.
No, he could still try to get out Parvati because that's more money for him.
He could, because no one is expecting him as a traitor. So if he's still, I guess you're allowed to throw traitors under the bus at the round table, but you're not allowed to like say, I know they're a traitor because.
Right, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Give reasons why you think they are.
Yeah.
Like Dan did.
Yeah. So yeah, he could still come after her and he can't be murdered. So that would be a really smart thing for Pete.
I know. Exactly.
I mean, everyone would have to be out of the game. Everyone would have to agree to get him out. And he's like the #1 faithful right now. So I don't think they're going to be doing that.
And everyone's already wants to vote Parvati. How is he going to turn that around? How is he going to say, I think I was wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just Dan. Like, how is he going to do that? Like, I don't think it was Parvati now that all the things she said and like, oh yeah, that does make sense that she I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he can, but I don't know.
I don't know. But it'll be good.
It'll be
a fun watch.
I did not watch Postmortem. Did you watch Postmortem?
I don't know if I finished it, but I did watch. That's where I heard her say that she broke the chalk.
Yes.
And Dan basically, admitting that he failed. But it is a good watch. It's only like 10 minutes. It's like right after the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of people were wondering where it was. I'm like, it's on. It comes on right after.
Right, and they have a it's actually called a show in Peacock, so you can just go and find the show.
Yeah.
Traitors Mortem. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Final thoughts this episode?
I sadly saw the writing on the wall for Dan.
I know.
Kind of knew he was leaving, but he gave it his best shot, on the way out. I hate when it's predictable. It's like, oh, I just want a surprise,
Yeah.
Pilot Pete's way smarter than I thought, which I kind of saw that last episode. And Phaedra, I don't know. I'm worried about Phaedra now because Dan, who is a traitor and was trying to give them a traitor. Even Trishelle said it at the end.
Yes.
Trishelle said Dan was trying to give us a traitor.
Yep.
No, Phaedra's a traitor. I was like, oh,
she's
crap.
catching on. She is. We forgot to say that. Yep.
Exactly. So those are my final thoughts. Can't wait for Thursday.
Yes.
How about you? What's your
same thing? I was so amazed with Pete, like just watching him play and being such a big Dan fan. It hurt, but it was such a good episode. I mean,
yeah.
They keep getting better and better every episode.
No, which is good. Like you don't want it to.
No.
Exactly.
And if people are like, oh, I wish I didn't have to wait a week in between, but if that was the case, we'd be done in like a whole day.
I know, exactly.
And then we'd have nothing to look forward to.
It's kind of fun to go back to the old style of waiting a week.
Yes,
I like
it. I do too.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Bye.